Hello, and welcome to the Detroit-Windsor 2028 Olympic opening ceremonies. Hang on, how did we get here? Hang tight, and I'll explain. My name is Jamie Steinberger, and this is my MGMT 619 final project presentation for Kettering University Online. The first step to planning the Motown Magic 2028 opening ceremony was for the team to select proposing a Detroit 2028 Olympics as a project. This idea was selected from ideas such as opening a Kettering branch in Japan and proposing a national education plan. The members of Team 1 were myself, John Kuiper, Michael Adams, Brian Dunbar, and Kyle Johnson. The roles we each assumed within this project are also listed. You might have noticed I said that the original plan was to propose an entire Olympics. From this idea, the team learned about scope. Can 5 people really plan an entire Olympics in 5 weeks? The answer to that is no. And as a result, the team ultimately decided to narrow our scope down to proposing the opening ceremony plan for a 2028 Detroit-Windsor jointly hosted Olympics. The plan was made with 3 primary goals in mind. Design a top 5 Olympic opening ceremony, prime the IOC for the first successful opening ceremonies for a milestone dual country hosted games, and deliver a plan that can be executed within a budget of $40 million US. To execute this project, the team had to make some assumptions, chief among them being the location of the 2028 Olympic Games. Additionally, the team operated under a set of constraints, assumptions, risks, and dependencies which optimized our opportunity for success. Even with this narrowed scope, there is a massive list of stakeholders. This includes our client, the 2028 Detroit-Windsor Olympic Committee, our executive sponsor, Dr. Angeli Barnick, broadcasters, business sponsors, the greater Olympic committees, government officials, venues, the project team, and finally, the participants and spectators of the Olympic Games. In the big picture, there's 3 phases to this project. The planning phase, more on this in a minute, the decision and funding phase, which would occur in 2021 through 2022, and the execution phase, in which project teams will work from 2022 until the actual event in the summer of 2028. The planning phase has occurred over the past 5 weeks and was executed by this project team. Each week, the team had a clear focus, which culminated in the project manager, me, providing our executive sponsor with an update on the progress of our plans. As we shifted our focus week to week, we also received and incorporated feedback from our executive sponsor that fed into a comprehensive project deliverable. This full report was delivered on schedule to our executive sponsor this past Sunday, December 18th, 2016. There are plenty of reasons for the Olympic Committee to buy into our opening ceremony plan. Not only will we feature a parade of nations to Motown songs and classic cars, paying homage to Detroit's history, not only will entertainers from the United States and Canada alike provide the world with some water cooler talk the next day, but the team is also delivering a plan that has a net zero cost. We will be balancing the cost of content and security against the revenues anticipated from sponsorships and ticket sales. To guide this team to a net zero cost, the team developed a work breakdown structure. Following a WBS, such as the one pictured, the team gives the opportunity to break down the project into smaller and more detailed pieces. This creates accountability throughout the team and transparency for the schedule and budget. Communication has proven to be one of the keys of success throughout this project. A flow chart illustrating the reporting structure has helped keep things straight. Additionally, setting some ground rules and standards such as listening first and pushing an open and collaborative team helps make the environment and communication more natural. The team operated using an RACI chart as well, bringing vast clarity to each member's responsibilities and helping to ensure that nothing fell through the cracks. And finally, a critical piece of project success through communication was understanding our audience. Working with the Detroit-Windsor Olympic Committee was an interactive give and take, with communication occurring at regularly scheduled meetings, whereas communication with city officials was classified as push communication, and the interface with the national media could be classified as pull communication. There's risk in everything. There was risk in taking on this project well before the 2028 Olympics. Additionally, in the transition of these planning phase materials to the decision and funding and execution teams, there are risks that this project team has accounted for that our successors must be aware of. These were recorded and monitored on a risk register. It will also be the recommendation of the project team that high priority risks are assigned an individual task force to help mitigate and control the risk. Plenty can be learned from completing a project of this magnitude. For me, 3 primary lessons were knowing the audience and adopting the communication style to the audience for maximum impact, staying organized, because with so many moving pieces, it's important to know what's on the docket and what must remain a high priority. And finally, trusting your team. I was given a great team to work with, and everyone was determined to be the master of his area of responsibility. Without everyone collectively striving for greatness, this project would not have been a success. Thank you very much for your time. I would like to acknowledge the other members of Group 1, Michael Adams, Brian Dunbar, Kyle Johnson, and John Kuiper, our executive sponsor and professor, Dr. Angeli Barnick, and finally, the MGMT fellow learners for their continued engagement and feedback on our project throughout this course. Thank you again, and see you in Detroit in 2028.